Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to start by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rekha HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well. And peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, pushing this word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom, shalom. This your brother Quan Vath with the Great Millstone Charlotte Camp. Come with a quick lesson to the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. And as you can see by the title, right, Esau is in a race to his own destruction, man, right? We see the transition that they're planning to go from 5G into 6G, right? We see the AI race. We see them accelerating Agenda 2030, the 15-minute cities, right? All these different infrastructures being put in place. What do they call the AI data centers that they're building, right? All these things that they're putting more and more legislation in to help forward that enterprise, man. Right, but all Esau is doing is hurrying the time to his destruction, man. Right, unbeknownst to him, because ultimately it's the Lord speeding up the days, as we have here in Matthew 24, right? Matthew 24 and 22. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened, right? So the Lord has the spirit on Esau, right, to accelerate in all forms and fashions, right, to get this, ultimately, to get the MOTB, right, mandated in the earth, right? Because the sooner they get that done, the sooner Yahweh Shai can come and redeem the elect, man, right? And put these devils into captivity, right? And so, like I said, Esau's in a race to his own destruction. He's full speed ahead, right, to the ultimate demise of his hegemony, man, right? Now let's get this here, right? Because what's the scripture say in Job 14:5? It says, "Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass," right? So there's a wall, right, that he's running, head first into, man, right? And it doesn't matter whether he takes his time or whether he speeds things up. There's an ending point to Esau's agendas, man, right? There's a point where the Lord is not going to allow this devil to have access anymore, and that's what we're about to start seeing, right? It's going to come a time where this man looks unstoppable, right? But at the end, it's always the Lord that's going to have that last laugh, man, right? So like it says, he has bounds that he cannot pass, right? There's levels that he can't reach, though he's going to continue to try, right? There's people, there's spirits who he doesn't have access to, right? But that's not going to keep him from trying, That's the whole point, is to he's here to try, the earth, through that device. And the elect aren't going to bow the knee, right? But he has to keep pushing this wickedness forward, man, right? Scriptures talk about things being exceedingly wicked, man, right? Let's get this here in Job 20. Salakia. Job 24. Knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment, right? So it's only a temporary time where these devils are going to be, in control, right? In the grand scheme of things, right? We think, right, the true believers of Yahweh Shai Shai have a eternal mindset, man. So this little bit of time here is a flash in the pan, a blink of an eye, in comparison to eternity, man. It's a grain of sand, So, like I said, knowest this not of old, since man was placed upon the earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short. This is a short time, right? And the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment, right? So Esau already has a short time. He already has a bounds that he can't pass, right? And he's just trying to fast forward to the end, man, right? Because they don't have the fear of the Lord. They think they've really been, blinded, right? The pride of their hearts, as you read in Obadiah, has really deceived them, man, right? You go into Isaiah 47, right? They haven't considered the latter end. They're just full steam ahead with the belief that there's nothing going to get in the way of their enterprise, man. Right? It says, verse 6, though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach into the clouds, yet he shall perish forever. Yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? Right? So, because it's going to be a time where there is no more Esau, man. Right? Actually, let's get that. Obadiah. Right? He's not considering the latter end of these things, man. Right? Obadiah chapter 1, verse 18. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. Right? Stubble. And let's look at that word stubble real quick. Slide. Stubble. Quasha. It says straw, right? Chaff dispersed by the wind, right? Let's see. That's pretty much it. Figurative of worthless, right? The house of Esau is going to be worthless. Why? Because it's like it says, continuing on, and they shall all. It says, Obadiah 1:18, and the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord had spoken it. Right? So like I said, there will be no survivors in Edom. Right? That spirit is going to be completely erased from the earth, man. Right? And that's through the spirit of the Lord. And Esau, again, is just fast forward into those times, man. Right? Unbeknownst to him. Right? He thinks he's going to accomplish all his misdeeds, man. He thinks he's going to get this new world order enterprise to completely destroy the earth, man. Right? He thinks he's going to be able to have this transcendence, right, where people's minds are put into the cloud and things of that nature, man. Right? He ultimately thinks he's going to be able to take the saints out of the Lord's hand, right? Right? That dragon being wroth with the woman, right, and making war with the remnant of her seed, man. Right? This is his whole MO, right? This is the whole reason that he's doing what he's doing, is to try to take the elect out of the Lord's hand. But unbeknownst to him, again, right, his end is already established, right? Those bounds are already put up where he can't get past, man. And he's running full speed, full steam ahead, right, into his destruction, man. Right? Let's go back to Job 20. Job 20, we'll jump down to 22. It reads, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. Right, so like it says in the NLT, in the midst of plenty, they will run into trouble and be overcome by misery. Right, so they're being allowed to reach these heights that no one's ever reached, man. Right, to surpass the capabilities of what are they called? Of kingdoms before them, man. Right? That way they can feel like they're in the seat of God, man. Right? That they're in that ultimate power seat to replace the Most High. Right? Because that's their objective. Right? It says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits, and every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. And that wicked goes into the workers, man. Right? We'll get that. Right? The people who are let's see. Yep, I'm all. It says laborers suffer a wretched one, but the point being the laborers, man. Right? Those who they have in captivity, pretty much, man. Right? It says, continuing on, verse 23, when he is about to fill his belly, right? When he's finally going to accomplish the goal that they've set out, it says, to try to reclaim that birthright or nullify the covenant ultimately that they made between Esau and Jacob, right? That lawful agreement, because of his impatience, ultimately going back to this being ordained by the Lord, right? But them trying to pretty much renege, right, and try to get that birthright back, right? It says when he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating, right? So they're going to be in a position of comfort, right? Even though we know, you read further down, it talks about their belly shall not know rest. I think, is that down here? That might be further up. Right, verse 20, it says, surely shall he not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desired, right? So they're in a state of unease right now. That's why they're trying to force everybody's hand. That's why they're trying to accelerate this thing, right, to accomplish it, because they can feel, that hand on their heels, man, right? They can feel their end is coming. They can smell it in the air. They refuse to acknowledge it, amongst the masses, but every action that they're taking, right, is again, moving quicker and quicker, unto their total demise, man. Esau is in a race to his own destruction, right? Everything that they do, actually, let's get that. This is 2 Corinthians 13:8. For we can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth, right? So there's nothing you can do to offset prophecy, man. Esau, again, is attempting to offset prophecy. They know what the prophecies are, right? That's why they're trying to get the prophets off the streets, man. And that's what they're ultimately gonna, make teaching this Bible illegal, man. Right? You're gonna be seen as an enemy, right, for speaking on Yahweh Shai. Right? Even more than you already are. For believing on Yahweh Shai. Right? For refusing to take this mark. Right? This is what they're doing. To try to offset the prophecies that are to come. Let's get this and then we can close out. Because every decision they make is forwarding, pretty much fast forwarding to their ultimate demise, man. Right? This is We'll start at 1. Isaiah 47:1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Right, so that dust being confusion, man. Right? We're seeing the wisdom of Teman leaving, man. Right? Right, we're seeing the wise, the monthly prognosticators, their wicked counsels, witches and warlocks, right? They don't have the answers anymore, right? So they have to intensify, all their witchcraft and things of that nature, right? But ultimately, they're finding themselves in a state of confusion, right? Both the heads and the people of the of Babylon the Great. It says, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate, because people looked at this place at once as a beacon, right? As something to aspire toward. So like it. Take the millstones and grind meal, uncover the locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Right, is pretty much being exposed, man. Right. It says, thy nakedness shall be uncovered, right? Luke 12:2, if I'm not mistaken. Speaking on everything that's done in the dark shall come to the light, pretty much. It says, I will take vengeance and will not meet thee as a man, right? Because Yahushua came as a man, right? his first go around, right? So this time, he's coming as that destroying spirit, man, right? 2 Thessalonians talks about how he will destroy them with the brightness of his coming, man. Right? In the words of his mouth. So let's get that and we'll jump back. So 2 Thessalonians 2:8. And the wicked shall be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Right, so the spirit of his mouth, right, being the prophecies that the prophets that he set out there to continue to push this vibration, man, right, and then the brightness of his coming, his eventual coming on the scene. And that nuclear fire, man, the brightness of those missiles, right? We're going back. Isaiah 47:3. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, the shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. For our Redeemer, Yahweh Shai of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel, right? So he's coming to redeem us, man. Right? It says, sit down. It's like it. Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. Right? So it's pretty much saying you should be in a state of mourning right now. Right? But they have that pride. Again, as we read, actually Obadiah 3 or 1-3. Right? The pride of thy heart have deceived thee. Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, and who saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Right? So this is the pride of these devils, thinking that, again, they can just accelerate these things and keep pushing, right? Keep plowing forward without any recompense, man, right? Because they haven't had any recompense yet, They can feel it coming, but until it actually happens, they're gonna, continue to move as if there's no consequences for their actions. It says, verse 6, I was wroth with my people, I have polluted mine inheritance, and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke. Right? So the Lord put us in the hands of these devils, and they've completely polluted, Jake, man, right? Physically, mentally, spiritually, right? So now they have to receive of that cup double, man. Right? They have to, face retribution for what they've done, right, to the Lord's people. Verse 7, the point, and thou sayest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it, man. And again, them accelerating in the fashion that they are, right? We're in the midst of the winter solstice, Esau's, wicked high holy days. So they're pushing forward. They're opening portals, doing all these things, setting forth agendas, putting out spells, unleashing demons, all type of things, man. Right? To try to fast forward, their new world order plans, man. Right? But like I said, let me read this in the NLT. You said, I will reign forever as queen of the world. You did not reflect on your actions or think about their consequences. So this is what we're about to see is Esau receive the consequences for their actions, man. Right? And they're just fast forwarding it, man. Again, Esau's in a race to his own destruction. So everything you see, all the infrastructure that's being established, all the legislation that's being written, the AI, all things of that nature, man. These things are all forwarding to Esau's eventual demise, right? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, right? Again, that Matthew 24 and 22, right? The Lord has sped up the days, right? And in order to speed up the days, he has to speed up, right, Esau's enterprise, right? And allow him to get to this those so-called crowning achievements sooner, But, Lord willing, those edifying lessons to the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. I want to close by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash, double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well, and peace and blessings to the hopeful elect to pushing this word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom, shalom, and Kwame Yasharella in the Bible Ball. Shalom.